Good day to each and every single one of you. You are locked in. You are listening to the Lunar Lounge podcast. So good day to each and every single one of you, wherever you are on the globe, on the planet. Welcome to the Lunar Lounge podcast. If you're new to the show, this is a show that it's more astrological centered. However, the show is open to various schools of thought that are along the same fabric as, let's say, astrology, or things that astrology is and has been plugged into. So I may speak on numerology. I do a tarot card of the week, for example. So I'll be doing that later on today in the show. Philosophy, psychology, geomancy, palmistry, health, well-being, all aspects of life is something that is and can well be discussed on this show. I have got a number of guests who will be joining me on this platform in the near future. There's also going to be a number of I've actually got some books that I'm going to be giving away as prizes as well. So there's going to be prizes. Sometimes it will be money, sometimes it will be books. It all depends from week to week. Hopefully that should start, maybe if not next week, definitely the week after. We will. Like I said, in a moment I will be talking about the current planetary positions and what it is that we can be looking forward to over the course of the next week. I also do like a midweek, I call it a midweek podcast that is uploaded on a Sunday. So it's twice a week at the moment. There may be some weeks where it's only going to be once a week, so do watch out for that. But essentially, it is a twice a week kind of show. It's just that the one on Sunday, it's not live, or it's not video that will be available on YouTube. You'd have to go to the podcast platforms to be able to listen to that. I'm available pretty much on all podcast platforms. You can hear me on the Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, and there's so many other ones as well. Too many names to mention. But I'm pretty much on all of them. If you just type in the Lunar Lounge podcast, you will be able to find me there. I will be speaking about upcoming planetary transits, positions, aspects, how they're influencing us. Tongue twister there. And I will we speak about also upcoming new moons, full moons, if there are going to be eclipses. I do want to speak about the nodes also in a moment, as well, as they're going to be changing signs very, very soon. I'm going to be trying to give more of a futuristic, so to give it like about a week, maybe 2 weeks ahead, to speak about planetary activities a week or 2 weeks ahead, because for those of you who are listening on the podcast, it allows you to be able to, basically, still be, in touch, as opposed to maybe just saying it on the day, like right now, as I'm speaking to you, or as you're hearing this, that I may be talking about a planetary configuration and it's gone. I'm actually recording this right now. Today's the 5th of July. I don't know when or who is listening to it today, tomorrow, the 6th of July, the 7th of July. So what I will be doing, my aim will be over the next couple of weeks, what you will find is that I'm speaking more about things that are occurring perhaps a week after that, when I upload the podcast or put up the podcast on the YouTube. I will be speaking about particular situations or planetary events that are to come. So then it gives people then a chance then who are listening to my podcast maybe a few days after, to then also still be in tune, so that way they don't miss out. What else? Also, I'll be speaking about any other particular mundane activity and how it correlates to the planetary positions in the heavens also as well. We know it's been kicking. It's kind of died down a little bit over the last couple of days, but France is kicking off. Seems to be getting quite intense also with Russia. I spoke about that on the Sunday podcast a little bit. I suppose I'll speak a little bit about that in a moment as well when I bring up the chart for the moment. Also as well, I like shows to be a bit more interactive, so I want this podcast to be more of an interactive show. So I do welcome any comments. I do want to thank each and every single one of you who have commented or made a suggestion or asked questions in the chat, especially on the YouTube. Some of you may, you can put your comments there. However, on the Spotify, I believe, I'm not too sure about the Apple platforms, but there is a place where you can leave comments there also as well. So you're more than welcome to do that. If you follow me on my Instagram, Sacred Planets, you will be able to, you can, send me, you can, slip into my DMs, as they say. Send me a DM, send me a message, or if I make a post or whatever, you can put a little comment below it. I'll be sure to respond or get back to you. So there are various ways in which you can reach me. I'm not I'm out there. I'm out there. Even though it may seem like I'm not out there, but I'm out there. I'm easy to get hold of. Well, I don't know about that one, but some people will beg to differ. Yeah, there are people right now, obviously, as I'm talking right now on the live. So again, you are more than welcome to put your comments or questions forward, and I will be sure to be responding to them. And wherever you are on the planet, remember, this is a platform or a podcast that is everywhere. It's all over the planet. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your friends and foes, tell your work colleagues about the podcast. So yeah, put it out there. And I want to, more subscribers, more people listening, for people to be more informed. And this is what this podcast essentially is about. It's I want it to be fun. I want it to be interactive, but at the same time, informative also as well. I want to be giving you guys information, productive information that can be useful, that can make you more aware, and things that you can apply to your daily life. This is what essentially what astrology is there for, to be able to know oneself more better, to be more aware of what is going on out there. And all of us are all facing something in our life, whether we're going through our trials, whether we're going through our tribulations. It's all, it's often a combination of both. It's never just one thing. But astrology and other forms of divination or understandings or schools of thought can open up pathways and gateways for our understanding, which can allow us to perhaps make better choices in life, or to understand the positions where we're in, or why we're going through what it is that we're going through. And this is the purpose of this podcast, to be able to provide that kind of vehicle, that platform, where it can allow you to understand areas and facets of life in a much more better way, in order for us to make better and healthier choices. So that's one way I basically like to put it. So it is what it is. I did mention about the tarot card of the week, so I will be picking out a tarot card a little bit later, letting you know about what's happening there. First and foremost, I tend to bring up the chart for the moment, and I will be doing that any second now. Bringing up the chart for the moment, and let's see where the current planetary configurations are, and what it is that it's coming up. We had a full moon in Capricorn on Monday gone, on the 3rd. So I spoke about that last week. I spoke about it on Sunday, spoke about it last week also as well. So that means in under 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a new moon. So I will be speaking about that. I will probably be speaking a little bit about that today, and I will also be speaking about that on Sunday also as well. So that way you're, again, ahead, because and then I'll be speaking about it again next week, Wednesday too. So again, you're being kept in the know. However, on the 10th of July, next week, Monday, there will, because the moon now, we've had a full moon. Anytime we have a full moon, as soon as the full moon hits, the moon starts to wane. It goes through a phase. We have what's known as lunar or moon phases, and they go through the different, there's 8 in total, but there are 4 crucial ones or prominent ones. So we have the new moon cycle. So we're going to have that in just under 2 weeks' time. We're going to have the next new moon. I'll be speaking about that in a moment. And then we have the 7 days after that, there is what we have the first quarter. That's when you see the moon at night, and it's sort of like a half moon. Then we have the full moon, which we had on Monday gone in Capricorn. And then what happens is 7 days after that, we have what's known as the waning quarter, or the last quarter waning moon. And then back again to the new moon. So we've got the 4 phases. So this is going to be a very crucial phase. So on the 10th of July, we will be having the last quarter. And that will be the last quarter declining, bringing us to the next new moon, which we will have 7 days after that. I will be obviously letting you know the dates and so on and so forth, in terms of how they're going to be impacting on us, and what it is that we can expect with that. So before I bring up let me actually bring up the chart for the moment, actually, and in that way we can really we can start cooking, right? Chart of the moment. Well, I say chart of the moment, but I will be looking at particular configurations that are to come. But yeah, chart of the moment. So we're in the Cancer season. Shout outs to all you Cancerians. I hope you're enjoying your Cancerian month. It's quite funny. There was expecting, over here in the UK, they're talking about, heat waves and stuff like that. And so far it's been quite windy, but we've had spots of rains also as well, I think the Cancerian energies are kind of telling us something along those lines. So yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this space. So we're gonna have on like I said, on the 10th. Like I said, we're gonna have the moon will be in Aries. So that's where we're going to have the last quarter. Now, the moon is waning. That's why if you pay attention to the moon at night, you will notice that she's decreasing in size, right? Because this is the waning moon, meaning she's getting, smaller and smaller. She's decreasing in light, symbolically decreasing in power, so to speak, or I wouldn't say decreasing in power. I probably will take that back. But there is kind of like when I say decreasing in power, probably one of the ways to put it is that she's being more subtle, acting more behind the scenes. There's more of a darkness of her. She's revealing herself less, so to speak. She's going inward. That's probably a better word. She's withdrawing. She's going inward. So that doesn't make her less powerful. So yeah. So that's what the moon is doing right about now after the full moon. So, but on the 10th of July, the moon will be in Aries, and here is where we have we have what's known as a square. She's going to form a square aspect to the sun. This is often a time where it's time to let go of something. It's time to release in some kind of way. But often at this point, so on the 10th, you may find like this is a difficult time to perhaps to deal with releasing something or letting go of something. It could be a number of things. It could be letting go of a habit. It could be letting go of a past relationship, a situation, work. It could be a number of things. It will be different things for different people, depending on what kind of layout you have in your chart. So do be mindful of this on the 10th of July. Things get a little bit frustrating very often around this particular period. So around the 10th, and you'll feel it from about the 9th, which is on the Sunday. So the 9th of July, 10th of July, going into the, well, kind of going into the 11th of July, around that particular time is a bit of an intense period. It's a time where you have to sort of like, there's something that needs to be resolved. It's a resolution period, and it's a time where you have to let something go. It can be a very good time to perhaps maybe a time to confront maybe something that you're having difficulties with. This can be a number of things. It could be perhaps maybe losing weight, changing your diet, cutting something out of your life that is no longer necessary, something that you've outgrown, something that you've outgrown it, you've outlived it in some kind of way, and you've got to let it go. So it's like shedding the old. It's like a snake shedding its skin. In many cultures, the serpent was seen or was used as a symbol for transformation, for change. Well, this is that kind of period, or this is the kind of planetary configuration that will bring that about, that will introduce that ability to be able to initiate that transformation and that change in your life. So again, from the 9th, 9th, it may start building even from the 8th, which will be obviously Saturday, 9th, Sunday, 10th on Monday, going into the 11th. Around that particular time, do be very mindful. Try not to force things during this particular, if you're finding yourself in a particular situation where you're very frustrated and you really want to force, or try not to use too much aggression or assertion. Be assertive, but not overly aggressive or overly assertive or too direct. Let's not forget the moon will be in Aries also as well, which is a Mars sign, which is it has that oomph, that kick energy. It's very, so do be mindful during this particular phase of the moon. And again, like I said, it will be starting from about the 9th, 10th, maybe 11th, not so, yeah, but maybe it will start to weaken or start to fade in the 11th. But the intense days are the 9th and the 10th. Those are the days that we have to really be watching out for, the 9th and the 10th, because the moon is going to be square to the sun, and it's going to be the last quarter phase coming up before we get the new moon. And the new moon, we're going to have a new moon in Cancer. Now that's going to be a real solid new moon. Let me put it up in terms of I just forward the chart until we have that new moon. So we got the new moon here. It's going to be on the 17th of July. Now this is a powerful new moon because it's a new moon in Cancer, and the moon is ruled by Cancer. So she's going to be in her own sign. So this is really so there we have it. Voila. So it looks like we're going to have the new moon in Cancer on the 17th of July, and the time will be at 6:31 p.m. That is UK time. So do adjust your times to wherever you are located on the planet. Okay. to your time location. But I'm in the UK, so I'm using UK time. And that tends to be the center for time. Well, since the British did what they did. But yeah, you know what I mean. Greenwich Mean Time and so on and so forth. But it's going to be at 6:31 on the 17th of July. And interestingly, that actually falls on a Monday. So that's quite good because days of the week are ruled by the planet, and we know Monday is ruled by the moon. So that's quite special. I like that. I like that. So new moon in the sign of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, on the day ruled by the moon, which is a Monday. Great stuff. So we got a new moon in Cancer. Now, new moons are to do with new cycles, new beginnings, planting new things. Great time for initiating new things. Great time for new beginnings. I will be speaking more about the new moon and what it's going to entail. I'll be speaking about it this coming Sunday. And I will speak about it also next week, Wednesday as well, because it will be leading up to that. But like I said, I do want to start doing this podcast in a way where I'm talking more about the future, or at least I'm talking near future planetary configurations and things. But so it keeps you in the loop, so you're in the know. So you have these dates again in your mind. So this is a very, very crucial point in the month when we have the new moons. And like I said, remember, new moons and full moons, they are both interwoven with each other. So we will have a new moon on one particular day. So the next new moon that we're having is going to be on the 17th of July at 6:31 GMT or UK time. And then 2 weeks from that date, we will have a full moon. And that full moon will be in the sign of Aquarius. And then 2 weeks later, then there'll be a new moon. Then 2 weeks later, a full moon. So that's how it goes. They follow each other. They're interwoven with each other. And they follow each other also by sign also as well. So the last full moon that we had, which was on Monday gone, we all remember, it was in Capricorn. So that's why the next full moon will be in Aquarius. And then the one after that will be in Pisces and so on and so forth. Again, with the new moon, same thing. The last new moon we had was in Gemini. So this new moon is going to be in Cancer. The next new moon next month will be in Leo and in Virgo and so on and so forth. So they follow each other. I will be going also deeper also into how these new moons and full moons work and how we can best work with them, because they actually work on a 6-month cycle. So you have to kind of be aware of them in terms of the when something began as to when something was harvested, which is the full moon, which happens 6 months later. So we have a new moon in a particular sign, and then 6 months later we have a full moon in that same sign. So that's things that I will be explaining, and again how to utilize that. Soon I am going to be having a subscription option also as well. It's probably going to be available on the podcast platforms, but it will be also on my website. When it's all done, I will be explaining to you where there's going to be a subscription offer where you pay a fee and you are going to be privileged to extra information, personal information about your own personal chart, and also how certain things are being activated in your chart. And there will be also other additional stuff that you get as a subscriber that is to come in the next couple of weeks. That should be available. So I'll keep you updated with that. So new moon, next new moon is going to be on the 17th. So on the 10th, remember, 10th of July, we got the last quarter waning moon. Last quarter, very crucial, critical time. It's a time of change. It's a time of letting go. It can be a bit frustrating. It's a bit of a headbanger moment. It's sort of like a point where we reach a hurdle. Let's put it like that. It's like a hurdle point. So it's a time where we have to put in extra effort, extra energy. We've got to give that extra push. So it's got to be, and it's going to be in Aries as well. So it's really going to require us to be somewhat a bit more dynamic, a bit more forceful with it. So it's going to be very energetic on that. So that's going to be on the 10th of July. We get the last waning moon. And then a week later from that, on the 17th, we get the new moon in the sign of Cancer at 6:31 p.m. UK or GMT time. So that is the moon, to keep you updated with that. And then obviously the week after that, we're going to have the first quarter. I will speak more about that perhaps maybe this Sunday when I do the next podcast, or next week, Wednesday, when I do the next podcast, basically the next Wednesday podcast. So I'll be keeping you updated on that. What else is it that I wanted to also mention or keep you updated about? Also on the okay, so let me get this one down to a T here. Mercury is going to be moving into the sign of Leo very early hours of the morning, as a matter of fact, on the 11th of July. So that's going to be next week. Well, because obviously I'm speaking from where I am now, obviously Wednesday podcast. Today's the 5th of July, but it's going to be on the 11th, Tuesday, the 11th of July. Mercury is going to move into the sign of Leo. Okay? Mercury in Leo, people. The great sign of Leo, the great sign of, which belongs to the sun. It's solar orientated. It demands a presence. It demands a platform. It demands to be heard. Mercury in Leo it's a very powerful place. I mean, any planet in Leo, essentially, because that's the sign that is ruled by the king. It's ruled by the sun, right? Hint for some of you Leos out there. Shout out to you Leos. Your season's coming up soon. But we're going to have Mercury in the sign of Leo. So there is something about how it's a time to be perhaps more creative, a time to be more flamboyant with our expressions. It's a great time to be very expressive. Mercury in Leo can be really out there and really expressive and really on the stage. It can be, for those of you who are perhaps in the creative industries or in industries where you need a platform, you need a stage in some kind of way, maybe theater, maybe acting. Mercury in Leo can be great for that, because it can really get, Leo has this very powerful, but there's something about power, there's something about energy in terms of our communication. So this is going to be like a great time while Mercury is in the sign of Leo. He's going to be going in Leo ahead of the sun. And then about a week or so later, the sun will then move into the sign of Leo. And that will be around July the 20th, 21st or so on. The sun will move into Leo, whereas Mercury's already gone in there. So he's paving the way, getting it all ready for the sun to enter into his splendid glory. Mercury's already gone into Leo saying, the king is coming, the king is coming. He's already announcing. So Mercury in Leo is really going to be about announcing something. So that's going to be quite interesting to see on the world stage how that's going to play out. We're perhaps going to be getting some kind of more kind of I know there's a lot of celebrities already out there, but a more kind of an information that's very, very, look here, look at the great one, where there's going to be a certain attention shone on somebody during that particular period. So watch this space for Mercury in Leo, but very good for creative writing, expressing oneself, expressing your vocabulary skills, in whichever way your vocabulary skills are expressed, but a great way to put them out there, So you writers, you poets, you spokespeople, you teachers, you advisors, this is people who are very mercurial orientated or in a mercurial profession. This is your time to take your spotlight with Mercury in Leo. So go right ahead. So that's going to be on the 11th, early hours of the morning of the 11th, on Tuesday, 11th of July. We're going to have Mercury moving into Leo. The moon will be in Taurus on that day too. So hey, that's a great one. Also as well, another thing I wanted to make an announcement of a planetary configuration changing very, very soon. I'm gonna mention it. So also on the 10th, just going back to the 10th, getting my days mixed up here. I'm going from 10th to 11th back again to the 10th. 10th of July, right? So on the 10th of July, I spoke about the moon, the last question. But on that day, something which is quite interesting, planet Mars, the planet Mars, which rules Aries, where the moon is going to be, but the planet Mars is moving into the sign of Virgo. Virgo. Sorry about that. I had to take a drink of water. My throat is getting dry. I never said if am I allowed to be showing this? I'm not advertising. I don't want people that say, "Are you advertising that water?" No. And I need to find out whether if it's okay to do this. So Mars, sorry, not Mercury, Mars will be moving into the sign of Virgo. What is that about? Mars enters Virgo. Interesting. Well, Mars, we know, is the planet of energy, right? He is the warrior. He is the fighter. Mars represents that dynamic energy, the raw energy, the passions. And he's moving into the sign of Virgo, which is very earthy, very calculated. This can be very good for technology. It can be very good for technology. It could be very good. Mercury in Virgo is kind of like Hephaestus, Vulcan, the forger in the Greek or Roman mythology, or Ogun in the Yoruba mythology, known to be the god of iron, who forges things, who makes things. He's the smith. So it can be very, very creative. So with Mars entering Virgos, and for those of you who have planets in Virgo, or for those of you who are Virgos, sun signs, you're going to get a kick up the rear end. Choosing my words carefully here, because Mars is going to go in there. Mars is going to give you some energy. So yeah. But this is a sign ruled by Mercury. So Mars has to be very clinical. Mars has to be very precise, because Virgo is a zodiac sign of perfection. So Mars has to be clinical. Mars has to be sharp. Mars has to be on point. Mars has to use his brain while he's in the sign of Virgo, but very technical. So it's a technical thing. So a lot of energies in areas of our technicalities, you see. What is it that we do which is technical? Or what is it that we need to do which is technical? So it's about using our, it's about being, they say about using brains over brawl. With this, I would say it's about using your brains to brawl. In a sense, two are not exclusive of of each other. So yeah, we need to fight, or we need to put an energy in a direction, but we perhaps need to use our a little bit like playing chess. Be competitive, but smart with it. Be technical. Be you use that mental strategic Mars in Virgo can be very, very strategic, indeed. So Mars is going to be moving into Virgo on the 10th of July. So that's a planetary configuration or a planet changing sign that's going to be coming up. I did speak about Venus. Venus is in the sign of Leo. She is there. She is slowed down. She's still square to Uranus. I have spoken about the sporadic spending and the unusual changes within our monetary spendings and financial situations. I'm just checking here to see if there's any questions that are coming in, but no, there isn't. Nobody's interested. Somebody has actually commented. The last quarter moon in Aries is really interesting considering Mars ingresses into Virgo. That's yes, exactly. Yeah. Thanks a lot for that. How do I pronounce that name? Haneen. Thanks a lot, Haneen. I see you also commented about heading back to the. I need to keep an eye on this. Where is my beautiful assistants that who can be helping me with my text reading or my computer configurations, or who are responsible for doing my lighting. You see here, no fancy stuff here. You just get it raw, live, and direct. No edits, no cuts, no smoke screens, no Hollywood. So no, thanks a lot for that, Haneen. Great. Volunteer, yeah. I need volunteers. Not making that money yet where I can get these nice fancy PA, who I can employ. But yeah, it's all good. So that's going to be quite interesting with the moon, last quarter, and then Mars moving into the sign, into the Virgo, well-behaved perfectionist sign of Virgo. So that's quite interesting. So then, just going back to the Venus, I spoke about Venus in the last couple of podcasts. Actually, she's really slowing down because she's about to go retrograde. I did mention around the 22nd, 23rd is when she goes retrograde, which means that she goes stationary actually on the 22nd, 23rd of July. She will be stationary, and then 23rd, 24th she starts to move retrograde, which means she's going to start to move back. What can we expect with Venus retrograde? Watch out for your relationships, ex-partners in particular. This is the time where I often get loads of clients saying, "Oh, I met my ex-boyfriend. Oh, my ex-girlfriend texts me. Are we getting back together?" In many cases, no. Retrogrades are when the planets appear from the Earth point of view to be moving backwards. Nothing is actually moving backwards in the heavens. It's actually in apparent motion. However, it's a very crucial time when the planets do move retrograde. Symbolically and energetically, they manifest in our lives. We see them in earthly affairs, in mundane affairs also as well. So Venus is slowing down. I feel this is contributing to a lot of what we're seeing around us, the kinds of things that are happening in France. France is very Venus ruled. It's a Venusian country. Paris is a Venusian Paris. If you know about the mythology or the cosmology of Paris, you don't get more Venus than that. Wasn't Paris the one in the Greek mythology who wanted to go for the most beautiful woman, who went for Helen of Troy, who was blessed by Aphrodite? Yeah, it's all Venus, Venusian energy. So no wonder why Venus is beginning to slow down So when a planet starts to slow down, when a planet starts moving retrograde, the energy is stifled in some way. It's almost like something is being taken back, something is moving backwards. So planets that are retrograde have to be paid very close attention. A planet moving retrograde is equivalent in layman's terms, a car reversing in the middle of the road. You know cars go a particular direction, right? If you were driving along the motorway or just driving on the road, whether left side, right side, whatever side you're on, but you're moving forward, right? And you saw a car reversing. And I'm not talking reversing to park. Reversing is necessary because, of course, we got to reverse in order to park our cars. But if you saw a car just going backwards, you think, what the hell's going on here? So, this is the retrograde. So we have to pay close attention to what that planet is about, what it symbolizes, what it means. Venus, we know, governs relationships, our love life, our ability to seek pleasure. Venus is also connected with money. Venus is connected with our social life, love life, social life, all of the pleasurable things. These are the things that Venus, governs. She also is connected also with a number of other things as well. She's connected with sex or sexuality. So it will be quite interesting to see how aspects of sexuality in society as a whole, how things that come up, perhaps we may find a lot of kickbacks or a lot of people, a lot of activity around sexual behavior or sexuality, whether it be male or female, that will come out around that time. We may hear of lots of stories or situations in the media during that time that are sexually orientated, that are coming to the limelight. Situations or activities that were where sexual contexts or issues will start to come out. Venus is also connected with fashion because she's the planet of beauty after all as well. So it's quite interesting to see how the fashion is. This is why when Venus goes retrograde, it's often advised not to buy new clothes. Not to buy new clothes. It's often referred, it's actually quite good for buying antique jewelry if you want to buy like expensive stuff or antique stuff. It can be quite, it's more favorable with the Venus retrograde. But I will be talking about more about Venus retrograde again Sunday coming and the next week as well, coming up to the 22nd, 23rd, because it will be shortly after the because remember we've got the new moon, and just a few days after that, that's when she's gonna she's gonna go retrograde. So around that time anyway, and she'll go retrograde. But Venus retrograde also as well often brings back past lovers, past boyfriends, past girlfriends. Sometimes relationships also is a particular area of life where we need to start paying attention to during that particular time. So yeah, watch this space in and around that, very, very active activity. Then she's going to go retrograde. She's going to go back. She's going to square Uranus again. So I'll be keeping you updated on that in terms of when that's going to start to happen. That will be around August. In August period. Just looking here now, she's going to square Uranus again. Hold on a minute. Well, she'll square him again around August the 10th. But now, we've still got plenty of time for that. And then when she comes out of retrograde and she picks up speed, she'll come back and square him again. So I'll be keeping you updated in and around that in terms of what's happening. What's happening there. What other planetary configuration was it that I wanted to speak about? I think that was it. Mercury going into Leo, Mars going into Virgo, last quarter moon, new moon in Cancer, which is going to be a real big one on the Monday. So yeah, let's watch this space on the 17th, was it? Yeah, 17th, I believe, was the new moon in Cancer. But I'll be speaking about that more again coming up too. So yeah, it is what it is. And then there'll be other stuff as well that I will be talking about in terms of planetary configurations and how that will be affecting us as well. Now, going back to the Venus Mars, because they have been quite close. I mean, they're quite close now, but because Venus is actually slowing down, Mars is pulling away because he's getting ready to go into the sign of Virgo, of course, which he will be doing on the 10th, like I said. But Venus, and we saw how things really got heated. That definitely was a sign that we saw, again with the France situation, really getting intense, and that's still not over. About the young man which was killed. Again, this is a Mars thing. It's a Venus-Mars thing, actually. Tensions rising in Russia again with what's going on with Putin. Now, what happens with Venus is she's going to go retrograde. Once she goes retrograde, she turns from what's known as an evening star into a morning star. Some of you may have noticed in the evening, just after the sunset, or as the sun is setting, Venus is actually visible in the sky. Wherever you are on the globe, when the sun sets, wherever it is that you are, you will find that Venus is visible. She looks very bright, very beautiful in the evening, as she is the evening. As she starts to retrograde, slow down, she starts getting closer to the sun, and then she diminishes, not to be seen. And then a few weeks or maybe a month later, we see her as a morning star. She turns into a morning star, what is known as a morning star. This is where your whole idea of Lucifer comes from, as the morning star. A lot of these concepts very often that have found their ways into areas of religion are actually astrological in origin. But that's another topic, another subject for another day. But she turns into a morning star. When Venus is a morning star, she becomes more warlike. This is one of the reasons why I strongly feel, and I will be looking at other configurations around that time, that things will get much more intense. Perhaps, August, September, more September, October, around that particular period where things are going to be getting more intense. So we need to definitely be watching out for that period. I'm not wishing anybody no harm. I'm not wishing anybody, but these are the kind of configurations that often reflect activities as such, where we find lots of intensity, a lot of battles, love and hate kind of situations, or people going up against each other, countries going to war against each other, people fighting each other, people, showing no love, not valuing, these are the kinds of things that are very Venus. And especially when Venus turns to a morning star, she's always been associated with wars. As a matter of fact, the last time she turned into a morning star is when Russia invaded Ukraine. So we saw what happened there, and that's been going on for quite a while. Still doesn't seem to be coming to no end. So now she's about to go retrograde again and turn to another morning star. So, hey, let's hope we can use this particular energy in a more positive way, and something good comes off of out of it, and where some peaceful negotiations, perhaps maybe when Venus goes into Libra, in September, October sometime, some peaceful negotiations, or when Mars goes into Libra, again in about 2-3 months time, when he enters Libra, maybe that could be the negotiation, because Libra has that, again, it's a Venusian energy. It's much more, tends to be, can have a bit more diplomatic. It's the sign of the scales and the sign of negotiation. So perhaps we can get a more kind of Venusian negotiation kind of energy out there, which can bring some peace to a lot of this conflict that we are seeing. That's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. What I nearly forgot was the nodes. the nodes are getting ready to change signs. Currently, right now, they're going to be changing signs on the 13th of July. So on the 13th of July, at the moment, we've got the North Node and South Node. The North Node is in the sign of Taurus, ruled by Venus, and the South Node is in the sign of Scorpio, ruled by Mars. Now, it's quite interesting because on the 13th of July, on the 13th of July, we're going to have the nodes, and that's just after the moon square, which I spoke about on the around the 9th and the 10th. The nodes will be moving into Aries and Libra. So the North Node will be going into Aries, the South Node will be in Libra. Now, what's interesting about that is that both of those signs are ruled by the same planets that ruled the previous signs which they were in. So they're still going back into a Mars, Venus sign. Let's watch this space. I feel this will be the turning point. The nodes do stay in those signs for 18 months. The nodes are to do with the eclipses. I will speak a bit more about that, shed a bit more light on that. They are to do with, they let us know when eclipses are going to be taking place, and they are to do with the points of the ecliptic and the celestial movement of the moon, where they intersect each other, and that's where the nodes are. So they can be somewhat quite technical. For those of you who are somewhat more advanced in terms of the realm of astrology, you know what it is that I'm talking about, because you'll be much more familiar with that. Haneen, I can see you say something about scandalous affairs. Yes, yeah, indeed. I know what you're referring to there with the scandalous affairs stuff. Was that the Venus Uranus that you were referring to there? But yeah, with the North Node and South Node going into Aries and Libra, again, it's still activating both planets, Venus and Mars. So the war still goes on, but it's going to be recalibrated in some kind of way. It's going to be rebalanced. So here, over the course of the next 18 months, definitely should be the time where this whole war thing again ends. It's quite interesting because Putin actually is a Libra, and the South Node is going to be going into Libra. He's also Scorpio rising, funny enough, and the nodes at the moment, the South Node is actually in Scorpio. So it's actually, these nodes are actually playing a huge particular pivotal activation or placements in the chart of Putin. So let's see how that plays out. I feel like with Putin, the thing is with Putin is he's in a strong position on one hand, but he's also in a very weak position and a vulnerable position on another. And I feel it's really, these planets are really showing us, or how they're configured in his chart, they're somewhat showing us it depends how he chooses to use it. He could really gain from this if he plays his cards appropriately, but he could also be a huge big downfall for him also as well. So it all depends, obviously, where his mind is, where his spirit, his soul is on this whole matter, or how he wants to take steps forward, or maybe come to some kind of agreement on some kind of level, and call maybe some kind of a truce. But my take on it is that he may not want to lose face, and calling a truce or coming to some kind of negotiation or agreement may come across weak, and we know what happens there. So that is something to bear in mind with that. So that is the nodes. So the nodes are going to be changing from Aries to Libra. So I'll talk more about that again in the podcast coming up. Yeah, that's about it in terms of planetary configurations. And yeah, I'm just going back to what Haneen was saying there about the Venus Uranus yeah, scandalous affairs. Yeah, it can be. Yeah, that it definitely can be some scandalous affairs there. But that is the update on the uh near future current planetary configurations. I think in a moment it's going to be tarot card of the week is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be pulling out, going to be reaching for my tarot cards here and give them a shuffle, and I will be pulling out the tarot card of the week and then bringing the show to a close. Like I said, there's going to be some fun games, prizes coming up for you guys, which I'm going to be I'm going to be doing. So chances to win books and maybe even money, also as well. So I'll be keeping you up. Definitely in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be something that's implemented for sure. So keep tuned, subscribe. With the live podcast, I actually should set a timer on that because it may differ in terms of the time, in terms of when I do start. But it should be between between 12 noon and 1 at this precise moment. It may shift during certain seasons, but I will definitely keep you updated. But in terms of the live podcast, it is Wednesday, 12 p.m. That's UK time, between 12 and 1. But what I will do is perhaps set I believe on the YouTube I can set sort of like a time so I can put it there so it will notify anybody or especially subscribers, so you get the notification that, okay, I'm coming on live, or the live is going to be at this particular time. So that way you're not guessing, or is it going to be 12 or 12:30? So you will know, because I'll do it ahead of time, and then that will keep you in the loop. So yeah. So yeah, let's give the cards a shuffle. I'm going to be doing tarot card of the week. The tarot card of the week essentially is the tarot acts as an oracle, as a way for getting insights. Gives us advice as to what kind of energies or archetypes it is that we should be looking forward to. I do it for the week, so it's from today, Wednesday, until next week, Wednesday. So the advice on it is to, just for anybody who's listening, and you may say, oh, well, there's going to be lots of people listening, right? So it's the same tarot card. Yes, it's for all of us. And we take the meaning. I mean, we're all going to do it differently. So for example, if I said, watch out for health, I mean, health is going to be different things for different people, right? For some person, it may drink more water, eat more vegetables for some person, do some exercise for some people. So it's going to be like, obviously, we're going to do it in different ways. And we will know which particular area of life it is that it's referring to or pointing towards. So the tarot card of the week is like, it's a nice sort of way of kind of understanding what kind of images it is that we are going to be confronted with, facing, and also whatever advice comes around that. So that's what I'm doing right now. As I'm speaking right now, I'm shuffling the cards. You can probably hear them in the background. Well, you can hear them now. That was done purposely. But you could probably still be hear in the background me shuffling them. I've got them in my hand and I'm shuffling them. And in a moment, I'll be pulling out the tarot card of the week. I did say that maybe I may start doing it for all the zodiac signs, but that's going to be a bit time consuming, isn't it? I might put that one on the subscription. That will be on the subscription, actually, because you will get something like that. But I'll be keeping you updated about the subscription. It's not going to be much, maybe like £10 a month or something like that. And but what you're going to get for £10 a month is going to be quite a lot. So yeah, it's going to like include like your personal astrology report for the month as well, particular parts of your chart that have been activated. There's also going to be some videos. I'm going to be doing some videos for subscription only for how to work with crystals and do rituals and prayers to also enhance certain aspects of your life. So those are the kinds of things that I will be doing as well. Just checking out my messages here. Do you connect with tarot practice with Chaldean deacons? Oh, okay. Thanks a lot for that question. Actually, I think I'll attend to this one. So Hanin is asking, do you connect your tarot card practice with Chaldean deacons? I have done. I don't always, but I have done, and I probably will do sometime in the future. Yes. They're very good. The Chaldean deacons can be used in so many different forms. So yeah, I have done and probably will do again, but not all the time. As you know, with tarot, it can be very diverse. There's so many different spreads and so many different techniques and methods, and it's and like they say, all roads lead to Rome, right? So regardless of our differences or our different approaches and techniques and methods, we're all going to the same destination. We want to see what the destination is. But Chaldean deacons are very, 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 very important. So with the first one being first deacon of Aries, being ruled by Mars, and then the second ruled by the Sun, and then the third ruled by Venus, and then so on and so forth, ruled by Mercury and Moon, and then Saturn, in that Chaldean order. So yes, definitely, it's something that I have done, and we'll probably do. Yeah. Tends to be a bit technical, but it's cool. I'm with it most definitely. Definitely use that. Yeah, but for doing it for the zodiac signs, yeah, maybe each zodiac sign. But I that will be something that I will have to rope into the subscription, for sure. Giving each particular what I may do for the subscription, I may give each personal person who subscribes their own personal tarot card for the week. So then it becomes more. So this one, what I'm doing now, will still apply as a kind of overall umbrella, but then you'll have your own inner personal one as well that you're working with too. So yeah, let's that should be up and running in the next couple of weeks, but I'll keep you updated with that. So anyway, let me just shout outs to Tyrone. I see Tyrone here in the building. He's probably going to be one of my first guests on this show, got to bring this brother in. I spoke to him in a good while. We kind of text back and forth, WhatsApp here and there, and catch each other on the hellos, and look at each other's WhatsApp statuses, what we've posted and stuff. But I ain't seen him in years. But yeah, brother's serious on the runes. He's my rune brother. I don't see too many people doing runes anymore. But a very good, powerful, if you want to say, Nordic divination tool. But we should be speak about that. I'll definitely be bringing him on this show, and you'll be able to hear the brother for yourself and interact. So shout outs to you. Thanks a lot for that question, Hanin. So let me pull out the tarot card for the moment and for the week. What's it gonna be? Okay. So the tarot card of the week is we got the Star, people. It's the Star. Nothing wrong with that. And with that, I need to sort out my lighting, man. How's this card looking like that? Oh, you can see it like that, right? The Star. So we got the Star as the tarot card for the week. Okay, so what is this telling us? That's interesting that I said something about health earlier on, right? Remember, I recall I just said something. I said, oh, health. This card is actually connected with health on many levels. So we need to, everybody listening, just, little things. It can be little things. Could go see the doctor for a checkup as well with this card. Drink more water. You see her pouring the water there. Speaking of water, my throat is running dry. But yeah, so do go for a checkup. Any habits, just be a bit more mindful, be a bit more aware in terms of health situations in and around you. However, the star is a card of hope. The star is indicating for us over the course of the next week that there is going to be hope. It's going to be in various areas of our life. For some people, it may be work, relationships, finances, children, love life. It's indicating that there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. However, the star card is also indicating like there's light at the end of the tunnel. But when we use that phrase, we say light at the end of the tunnel. Remember, it's still indicating that we still may be going through a bit of a dark phase. There's still a bit of a dark cloud over our head. We're not quite there, but we can see where it is we're going. We can see from the promised land, we could say, or like I said, light at the end of the tunnel. We can see the success ahead. It's not too far. That is what the star essentially is indicating. So the star is letting us know that we need to just persevere, keep on going, and that there is hope. Okay, but we're not totally out of the darkness. When I say darkness, I don't mean that in a Judeo-Christian way in terms of bad or evil. That's not what I'm talking about. We all go through dark phases. It's necessary that we go through dark phases or heavy phases or challenging phases. I'm not necessarily saying it's evil. I just feel life is a part of ups and downs, trials and tribulations. You can't have a mountain without a valley, and you can't have a valley without a mountain. So life is composed of both ups and downs, left and right, hot and cold, night and day, male and female, hard and soft, external, internal. That's how life is. And we have to, it's all about finding that balance. Life is about balance. Too much on anything is going to be destructive or harmful to us in any way, shape, or form. So it's all about finding that balance. And I feel that's all what we're trying to do as human beings, is we're trying to find that balance. We all want to be happy. We all want to be loved. We all want to, make enough money and eat well and, have a good life. And, we're all seeking that, but it's all about where do we need to find that balance? What are we doing maybe too much of or too little of? So this card is a card, and although it's a temporarily, remember, it's card of the week, it's letting us know that regardless of our struggles, regardless of our setbacks, regardless of our difficulties that we may have encountered, that there is light ahead. There are better moments to come. We may not be there yet, but at least we can see it. So hang in there, and things will slowly but surely start to come together. They'll start to come together as a unit. They'll start to come together as a product or whatever it is in your own life. And that's what the star essentially is about. So stay strong, persevere. Success is coming. Just keep on the track. Things are slowly but surely coming together. Things are slowly, surely healing also as well. And just be mindful again about the health thing, whether you need to drink more water. I'm not necessarily saying everybody who's listening to this that you're in bad health, but just it's something just to be aware of. There may be some of you that do need to go and, seek your, I know I need to get back in the gym. I've missed a few days, you know what I mean? So I know definitely that card is definitely speaking to me on that kind of level. But we can always do better. We can always improve in some kind of way. But this is a star that, the light is shining on you. The guardian angel is there, okay, protecting you and watching over you and seeing you through these dark moments. And there is hope. There is a future. No matter how bad, no matter how difficult things are, things will come to the light. Better days are ahead of you. So that's what the star is essential about. And also, make a wish. Wish upon a star. That's what it's all about. Here we go. That's the star. So that's the card of the week, people. We got the star. We got the star this week. Okay. Maybe we are aiming to be stars. We are stars, are we not? We are all a part of the cosmic dust, you know. It is what it is. Just looking at my finger. Can't wait to hear more about the rune divination. Yeah, I hear that. I hear enlighten me has entered the room. What a name. That's a cool name. Enlighten me. Okay. I like that. I like that. So yeah, thanks a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna bring the podcast to an end. I want to thank each and every single one of you who tuned in live. Don't worry, the video of this will go up in the next couple of hours or something like that. I will also upload it on all the platform. So if you got Apple, please subscribe to the Apple so you can get notifications when I upload a new podcast. It's also available on Spotify. I believe there's a comment section on Spotify as well where you can leave comments. I need to double check that, but I was assured that it's there and it's on. But I just need to know that is really it's really operational where people can leave comments on Spotify. If you can't, you can leave comments on my YouTube channel, so that's fine. So yeah. So if there's anything you want to add, or maybe things you can say, oh, can you speak about this or something like that, that's all fine too. Maybe there's something that you want me to speak more on, but as the show goes on, again, we're in the early stages, but as the show continues to grow, more and more people, I keep getting more and more feedback from my podcast platform that more and more people are downloading, more and more people are subscribing, which is good. So please feed out the information, spread the word. Tell your friends, family, foes that hey, the Lunar Lounge podcast is alive and well, and it's twice a week. The main day is the Wednesday, like this one, because I do this one live, but there's also a podcast which will be uploaded on a Sunday, every Sunday as well. But that one is not, there's no video, not at the moment, but it's available on the podcast. So you get to listen to that on the Apple, Spotify, or Google podcast. That's where you can listen to that. On that note, people, I'm out. Thank you very much for your support. Shout outs to Haneen, Tyrone, Enlighten Me, that was in the group. Who else have I missed? Pam Smith. Shout outs to Pam also as well. Yeah, it is what it is. We got there in the end. Got to sort out this feedback thing that I'm often getting. I need to sort out my technical stuff. It seems like I got that. So yeah, that's all good. That was great to see. So I'm out. The next podcast you'll be hearing from me will be on Sunday, the 9th of July. There'll be a new podcast being updated. People, have a great week. Keep learning, keep growing, keep enjoying, stay blessed. Thank you for your participation. This is the Lunar Lounge podcast, and I thank you and goodbye.